The dry planet the sun above was not yellow. It was blue, and it burned hotter than anything Jack had ever felt. His ship had crashed only hours ago, on this strange alien world. The ground was cracked like old paint. Dust blew in the dry wind, and the air tasted like metal. Jack, a human explorer, pulled his scarf over his mouth and looked across the wasteland. His water pack was half empty. Not good. He started walking. His boots crunched against sharp stones. There were no clouds, no trees, no animals. Just silence. But then he heard something. A soft sound, a weak cry. He froze. His hand moved to his sidearm, just in case. He followed the sound, stepping carefully toward a dark canyon up ahead. As he climbed down, he saw movement behind a rock. Someone or something was hiding. Hello? He called out. The figure didn't answer. He moved closer, hands raised to show he meant no harm. Now he saw her. It was a girl. Young. Maybe his age. Alien but beautiful. Smooth violet skin, bright green eyes, silver hair that fell like silk down her back. She looked scared and tired. Her arms were wrapped around two small creatures. They were furry, shiny, almost glowing. Like cats, but with 6 legs and antennae on their heads. And they were breathing weakly. They need water, the alien girl whispered. Jack crouched beside her. Are they yours? She nodded. They are more than pets. They are my only family now. Jack looked at the creatures. Their tongues hung out. They trembled in her arms. He pulled out his last water bottle. Here, he said. She stared at him, wide-eyed. You would give it to them? Jack looked at the bottle. Only a few sips left. He could survive another hour maybe. They need it more than me. She took it gently. Slowly, carefully, she let the water drip into the mouths of the small creatures. They made soft purring sounds. Their eyes glowed a bit brighter. The girl's eyes filled with tears. Why would you do this? You're human. Jack gave a weak smile. Not all humans are bad. Suddenly, he swayed. His head felt heavy. The world spun. Hey, she said quickly, catching him as he fell sideways. You gave too much. Jack lay back on the hot stone. He chuckled softly. I'm just tired. You need water. Too. Jack shook his head. I'll be fine. You take care of them. The girl looked at him with confusion and amazement. No one on this planet would have done what he just did. Not for aliens, not even for friends. She touched his face. My name is Alara. What's yours? Jack, he whispered. Jack. She repeated softly. He closed his eyes. His skin was pale now. Breathing slow. Alara looked at her pets. They were recovering. But the human who saved them, he was fading. She looked around. The canyon was too open. Too dangerous at night. Wild beasts hunted here. She had to move him. She stood up, gently pulling Jack's arm around her shoulders. It was hard. He was much taller, but she didn't care. He gave his water for her little ones. She would not leave him behind. Come on, she whispered, half to herself, half to him. The pets followed her, slowly, weakly. But they followed. Hours passed. The red moon rose in the sky. Ilara's legs shook with every step, but she did not stop. At last she saw a ruined structure built into the rocks. An old temple, maybe, made by ancestors long forgotten. She pushed open the heavy stone door. Inside it was cool, dark, safe. She laid Jack down on the floor. His lips were dry. His skin was hot now, fevered. Alara sat beside him. Her pets curled up next to Jack, as if they knew what he'd done for them. You saved them, she said softly, brushing his hair from his forehead. Now I will save you. She looked deeper into the ruins. Maybe there was something here. Maybe water. Elara stood up and took a deep breath. She was not a warrior. She was not trained to survive, but for Jack, the strange, kind human who gave his last water for her friends, She would fight the whole world. The last drop, a slow drip, echoed through the ancient stone walls. Drip. Drip. Elara turned toward the sound, heart racing with hope. She stepped deeper into the ruins, careful not to disturb the cracked floor. Her glowing alien eyes adjusted quickly to the dim light. Vines covered the walls. Dust floated in the air like silver mist. Behind her, Jack lay unconscious, barely breathing. Her two alien pets, now a little stronger, cuddled beside him, sensing the life in him was fading fast. Elara clenched her fists. "Hold on, Jack. Just hold on." She followed the sound. Around the corner, in a small side chamber, she saw a rusted metal pipe sticking from the wall, leaking tiny drops of water into a stone bowl. Her eyes widened. "Water!" She ran to it, cupped her hands. The drops were slow, too slow, but they were real. She held her hands under the leak, letting them fill with the cool, clear liquid. Then she turned and ran back to Jack. She knelt beside him and lifted his head. "Drink," she whispered. She pressed the water to his lips. At first, he didn't respond. Then, he swallowed weakly. His eyes opened, just barely. "Elara?" "You're safe," she whispered, smiling. "You saved my friends. Now I save you." Jack gave a tired grin. Fair trade. Elara returned to the leak again and again. Gathering every drop she could, she gave half to Jack, the rest to the creatures. She kept none for herself, but the water wasn't enough. Jack was still weak. Too weak, and she could feel something else. This planet's life was fading. The drought wasn't natural. Something was wrong. Then, a sound, a deep hum. She turned her head. The old temple walls began to glow faint blue. Symbols lit up, pulsing. Like a heartbeat. She stood. Something had awakened. A doorway opened at the far end of the chamber. Beyond it, soft green light shimmered like a pool. Elara took one last look at Jack, then whispered to her pets, "Stay with him. Watch him." She stepped through the door. Inside, the air was cool and fresh. Plants grew along the walls alive. There was a tall glass column in the center, filled with water, glowing like liquid crystal. And then it spoke. A voice filled the room, deep and mechanical. "Identify." Elara stood tall. "I am Elara of the Drell clan. My people once guarded this temple. You are not authorized." She stepped closer. "Please, my friend is dying. He gave his last water for my companions. He is human and kind." The voice paused. "A human? Here?" "Yes." He crashed. "Help him, I beg you." The glass column flickered. The voice sounded uncertain. "Nitrogen monoxide human has ever requested entry. Human actions are violent, destructive. Not him," Elara said firmly. "He gave. He didn't take. He shared his last drop." The voice was quiet. "Then he must prove worth." Elara frowned. "He's unconscious. He must face the trial." "What kind of trial?" A new platform rose from the ground. Lights formed a ring. Symbols floated in the air. If he survives, the water will be his. Elara stepped back. She didn't understand this trial, but she had no choice. She returned to Jack and gently shook him. "Jack," she whispered, "I need you to wake up." He groaned. "Listen," she said quickly. "This place, there's a test. They'll give us more water if you pass it." He blinked. "What kind of test?" "I don't know. But you have to try." Jack sat up slowly. His body felt like it was on fire. But when he saw Elara's face, hopeful, worried, determined, he nodded. "All right, let's do it." Elara helped him to the platform. As soon as he stepped into the glowing ring, the air around him shimmered. He vanished. "Jack?" Elara cried out, but he was already inside the trial. Alone, inside a white space. Jack looked around. Nothing, just endless light. Then scenes appeared. Earth, war, fire, screams. He saw soldiers, civilians. He was back in the middle of a memory, his old mission. The one where he failed to save a village. No, he whispered. Not again, the AI voice echoed. Show US, what are you? He turned. A child stood crying. Burning buildings behind her. Jack's hands trembled. This was the test. Not of strength, but of soul. Back outside the chamber, Ilara stood still, staring at the glowing symbols. Be strong, Jack. She whispered. Beside her, her alien pets purred, watching the trial light shimmer. If Jack succeeded, they would all live. If he failed, the last drop would truly be the last. The rescue climbed. The ground shook. Ilara stumbled back as blue light exploded from the platform. The glowing trial ring around Jack suddenly cracked. Smoke poured out. Jack! She shouted. Then he reappeared. He dropped to his knees, breathing hard, face soaked in sweat. His eyes were wide, like he had just survived something terrible. Ilara ran to him. You did it. Jack looked up slowly. It showed me everything, my mistakes, my fears. He touched his chest. I thought I'd die in there. Ilara helped him to his feet. But you didn't. You proved yourself. A mechanical hum echoed across the temple. The central water chamber began to open. A circular column split apart, revealing clear, glowing water flowing upward like a gentle fountain. Water access granted, the AI announced. Ilara smiled. Her pets barked softly with joy, but then came another voice. It wasn't mechanical. It was cruel, mocking. Well. Looks like someone found the temple after all. Ilara froze. Her eyes narrowed. From the entrance, several figures appeared. Tall aliens in dark armor. Their skin was scaly like snakes. Their leader had red eyes that burned with hunger. Kravuk raiders. She whispered. Jack reached for his weapon, empty. Guess this human did all the work for us, the raider leader sneered. Thanks for unlocking the water ape. You can't take it, Ilara said, stepping forward. Oh, who's going to stop us, you? The raider grinned, showing sharp fangs. Suddenly, a blast hit the wall. The temple shook. More raiders were coming. Jack grabbed Ilara's arm. We need to leave now. But the water, Jack pointed. Grab what you can, we run. Ilara ran to the pool and scooped water into a crystal container from the wall's shelf. An ancient bottle, maybe. Just enough to keep them alive. Jack slung the container over his back and grabbed the glowing alien pets. They held onto him, frightened. Climb! He shouted, pointing to the narrow path that led up the back wall of the temple, an old staircase carved into stone. They ran. The raiders chased them, shouting curses in alien tongue. The climb was steep. The stairs were crumbling, and the temple shook more with every step. More blasts below. Jack climbed first, helping Ilara up. She followed, carrying one of the pets. The other clung to Jack's shoulder. Rocks fell. Dust filled the air. The wind roared outside the top of the canyon. Then one of the raiders fired a plasma bolt. It missed Ilara by inches. They were exposed. Faster! Jack yelled. A chunk of the stair cracked behind them and fell. One misstep and they'd be gone. Ilara slipped. Her foot dangled over the edge. Jack grabbed her wrist, holding on tight. I've got you. She looked up, breathing hard. Don't let go. Never, he growled. He pulled her up. Together, they scrambled to the top. But at the final step another blast struck. The stone above collapsed, blocking the path. We're trapped, Ilara gasped. Jack looked around. No, we're not. He pointed toward the rocky wall beside them. A narrow crack, small, but maybe enough. We crawl. Ilara's eyes widened. Are you serious? You have a better idea? She didn't. She nodded. Jack pushed the pets through first. They squeezed into the gap. Then he slid in, pulling himself through the tight rock space. It was dark, rough, sharp in places. His armor scraped. His skin bled, but they kept going. They emerged outside, high above the canyon on a ledge with an open view of the dying valley below. Smoke rose from the temple. Jack looked at the bottle on his back. It shimmered in the sunlight, still intact. He sighed in relief. Elara fell beside him, panting. We made it. The pets curled at their feet, tired but alive. They sat there for a moment, breathing the dry wind. Far in the distance, more raider ships descended from the clouds. Jack narrowed his eyes. This drought, the raids. It's all connected, he said. Elara nodded. They're draining this planet dry, selling water to other worlds. They'll kill everything. Jack stood up slowly. Then we stop them. Elara looked at him in surprise. You want to fight them? Just the two of us? Jack looked at her, serious but calm. You've got knowledge. I've got experience. And we've got something they don't. She tilted her head. What's that? He smiled slightly. A reason to fight. Elara stared at him for a long second. Then she nodded. The human had risked everything for her pets. Now, she would risk everything for him. The water vault. Jack tightened the straps of the ancient water container across his back. Every drop inside was precious clear, glowing, and cold. The only real water he had seen since landing on this dead world. Elara stood beside him, watching the sky. The raider ships had vanished behind the canyon, but smoke still rose. The temple below was burning. Her home, her people's last sacred place. They won't stop, she said quietly. Jack nodded. No, and they know we have water now. They'll hunt us. Elara looked at the distant mountains. There's one place they can't reach. Jack raised an eyebrow. Where? She pointed. The Vault of Vasari, deep underground. Hidden by the ancients. Only my bloodline can open it. He gave a dry smile. Of course. You're full of surprises. Elara didn't smile back. It's not a myth. The vault was sealed when I was a child. My mother was its last guardian. I've never seen inside, but it's said to hold something powerful. A memory, a truth. Jack checked his gear. Lead the way. They traveled through dusk. The sky turned orange, then purple. Strange shapes flew overhead like giant manta rays, but made of glass and bone. The land became more broken, craters, rusted machines half buried in the dirt. Silent remains of an old war. Elara walked ahead, calm but watchful. Jack followed, holding the sleeping pets close. After hours, they arrived. It looked like nothing, just a stone arch half buried in rock. But when Elara stepped forward, the arch glowed with silver light. The ground shook, and a deep chime echoed beneath their feet. The rock slid open. A staircase led into darkness. Elara took a deep breath. We go down. Jack raised a flashlight. I hate ancient basements. They descended deep into the earth. The air grew cold, wet. For the first time Jack smelled life moss, roots, moisture. The walls were covered in writing. Glowing letters in Elara's language. She read them aloud softly. The water is memory. The water is soul. The vault is truth. At the bottom, they reached a wide chamber. In the center stood a round stone platform surrounded by water. The pool glowed gently. A soft mist floated above it. Jack stepped forward. Is this it? Elara nodded. Yes, the vault. She stepped onto the platform. The symbols lit up under her feet. A soft female voice echoed in the chamber. Bloodline confirmed. Welcome, daughter of Vasari. Jack tensed. The voice wasn't like the AI before. This one felt alive, emotional. The pool's light grew brighter. A holographic image appeared above the water, a woman with the same silver hair and green eyes as Elara. Older, wiser, beautiful. Elar gasped. Mother. The projection smiled. If you are seeing this, I am gone. But I knew you would find the vault one day. Tears welled in Elara's eyes. The voice continued. This world is dying because of theft. Water stolen by raiders and sold to the highest bidder. But they cannot steal what is sacred. The image turned to Jack. And you, human, you are unexpected. Jack blinked. Thanks? Only a heart willing to give will find this place. You carry that heart. Jack looked away, a little embarrassed. The voice grew more serious. Inside this vault is not just water, it is knowledge. A map of every hidden spring on this planet. Wells the raiders don't know about. Ilara leaned forward. We could save the valley, Jack nodded. We could fight back, the voice added. But there is a cost. To unlock the full vault, a sacrifice is needed, Jack frowned. What kind of sacrifice? The voice faded. The light dimmed. Only silence remained. Then, a panel opened in the floor. Inside an ancient blade, glowing with blue fire. Ilara picked it up. This is a keyblade. It draws from life force. Jack raised an eyebrow. So, it wants blood? Ilara shook her head. No, it wants truth. A memory, one pure, painful memory to activate the map. Jack looked at her. You've lost more than I have. She looked back at him. But you gave more. Silence. Then Jack stepped forward. I'll do it. Ilara's eyes widened. Are you sure? Jack took the blade. If this helps stop the raiders, if it helps your people, I'll give a memory. He placed the blade over his chest. It didn't cut skin. Instead, light poured from his body shapes, sounds, voices, a little girl crying. Soldiers shouting. Fire. A human child holding his hand. Jack screaming as he failed to save her. Ilara watched in shock. That was, Jack nodded. My sister. I couldn't save her. Not then. But maybe now, I can save someone. The blade dissolved. The ground shook. A giant crystal rose from the water. And inside it, maps glowed. Wells, springs, underground rivers. Ilara's eyes filled with light. We have everything we need, she whispered. Jack smiled tiredly. Good, because they're coming. Above them, the ground rumbled with the sound of approaching ships. The trial of humanity, the ground above, shook like thunder. Ilara grabbed the glowing crystal map and tucked it into her satchel. Jack helped her to her feet, his body still weak after giving up a memory that had haunted him for years. Heavy footsteps echoed down the dark staircase they had come from. Jack's jaw tightened. They found us. Ilara looked toward the back of the vault. There's another way out. An old tunnel used by the temple guardians. The alien pets growled quietly. Their ears twitched, warning of danger. Jack turned. We don't have time to fight them all. Let's move. They ran through a narrow tunnel lit only by the glow of the crystal. Roots tangled above their heads. The air grew colder, wetter. The walls began to shine with ancient symbols. After several minutes, the tunnel opened into a vast underground cavern. Jack stopped, stunned. A massive machine stood in the center, floating above a black lake. It looked like a broken starship, but alive. Pipes ran into the water. Its core pulsed with blue light. What is that? He asked. Ilara's voice trembled with awe. It's the heart engine, the original source of this planet's water system. Before the raiders came. Jack took a step closer. It's still running, Ilara nodded. Barely. But if we restart it, we can bring life back to the valley. Before they could move, a voice rang out. Well now, this is a surprise. The raider leader stepped from the shadows, his red eyes glowing with hate. More soldiers followed behind him, weapons raised. Ilara stepped in front of Jack. The raider grinned. You've been busy, girl, hiding maps, awakening old machines, sharing water with filthy humans. Jack spoke, calm and cold. You're the reason this planet is dying. The raider's smile faded. This planet was already dead. We just made it profitable." He raised his gun. "Now hand over the crystal, and maybe I'll leave you breathing." Alara clutched the map tightly. Never. The raider fired. Jack dove in front of her. The blast hit his side. He fell with a grunt. "Jack!" Alara screamed, catching him as he collapsed. Jack coughed, blood on his lips. "Don't let them win." The alien pets leapt forward with sudden fury. Their bodies glowed. They moved faster than the raiders could aim. One slashed a weapon out of a soldier's hand. The other knocked another off balance. In the chaos, Alara looked at the heart engine. The machine was reacting, its core glowing brighter. Her pendant wants her. Mothers started to hum against her chest. She touched it. The machine spoke, not in words, but in feeling. It knew her family's code. She ran to the console and placed the glowing map into the heart of the engine. The machine roared to life. Light exploded from its center. The black lake shimmered. From deep beneath, fresh water surged upward. Steam rose into the cavern. Pipes around the engine snapped open, and water poured out gallons. Rivers. The raiders stumbled back in fear. "What is happening?" their leader shouted. Alara stepped forward, holding Jack with one hand. "This world remembers who it belongs to." The raiders fired again, but a shield erupted from the heart engine, blocking the shots. The machine began projecting the maps, every spring, every hidden source into the air like glowing stars. The engine's voice echoed through the cavern. "This world is reclaimed by the worthy." Suddenly, columns of water burst from the ground beneath the raiders. They screamed as they were thrown into the air, crashing against stone. The pets leapt back to Alara's side. Unharmed, the raider leader climbed up from the mud, wounded and furious. "You think this changes anything? More will come." Jack, still bleeding but conscious, looked up. "Let them come. We'll be ready." The raiders snarled, but before he could fire, one of the temple's defense systems came online. Beam of light hit him and turned him to ash. The cave grew silent again. Alara knelt beside Jack. "You're hurt." He smiled weakly. "Takes more than that to stop a human." She laughed through tears. "You're insane, probably." She pressed her forehead to his. "You passed every trial, not just theirs, but mine too." Jack looked into her glowing eyes. "What now?" She stood and looked around the chamber. "Now we bring life back to my people." She raised the crystal again, and the maps began uploading to every corner of the planet. Hidden wells reopened. Springs flowed again. The drought broke, all because a human gave his last drop. And his deepest memory, rebirth of hope. The first raindrop fell like a miracle. One drop, then another. And then a soft, steady shower began to fall across the bone-dry planet. Far above the underground vault, clouds had gathered for the first time in years. The heart engine's reawakening had set a silent pulse through the skies, waking ancient systems, calling water from hidden places, restoring what had been lost. Villagers miles away stepped outside their broken homes and looked up in disbelief. As water touched their skin, children ran through the mud laughing. Elders wept, kneeling in the dust as it turned to soft, wet earth beneath them. Life had returned. Deep underground, Jack lay on a stone slab in a side chamber of the vault. His side was wrapped in glowing alien fabric that pulsed gently with light. The wound from the raider's plasma blast had nearly taken him. Alara sat beside him, her hands resting on his arm. Her alien pets, now bright-eyed and full of energy, lay curled beside Jack's legs, purring softly. Jack stirred. His eyes opened slowly, blinking against the soft blue glow. "Alara?" She leaned in quickly. "I'm here." He winced and tried to sit up. "Did we win?" Alara smiled. "You saved more than you know. The heart engine is working. Water is returning. The valley, the people. They're alive because of you." Jack exhaled, his voice dry. "Glad to hear it." Because I feel like I got hit by a space truck. She chuckled. You almost died. I know, he said, giving her a tired grin. Worth it. There was silence between them. But not empty silence, peaceful. Ilara looked at him carefully. You gave everything. First your water. Then your memory, even your body. Jack shrugged. I don't do half measures. She reached into her satchel and pulled out a small silver container filled with thick blue liquid that shimmered like starlight. This, she said, is called life nectar. It comes from a root that only grows near living water. My people used it to heal the dying. Jack raised an eyebrow. Sounds rare. She opened the lid. It is, and I'm giving it to you. He blinked. You sure? You didn't just save my pets, Jack. You saved my home. I want you to live long enough to see what you did. She gently poured the nectar into his mouth. The effect was instant. Jack's body arched slightly as a wave of warmth passed through him. His skin glowed for a moment. The pain faded. His breathing steadied. He sat up straighter, amazed. Whoa, that's some next-level medicine. Ilara smiled. It's not just medicine, it's a gift. It means you are one of us now. Jack met her eyes. One of your people, one of my family. The pets climbed onto his lap and purred louder. Jack looked at them, then at her. I'm honored. Ilara stood and walked toward the glowing crystal map, now installed in a central pillar. It's time, she said. With the map, we can lead the rebuilding. We can create new wells, purify poisoned rivers, restart the old irrigation systems. Jack stood beside her, stronger now. You'll need help. She looked up at him. You're not leaving? He thought for a second, then shook his head. Earth has its heroes. Right now, this world needs one more. Ilara's eyes softened. Jack added, besides, someone needs to keep an eye on your troublemaker pets. As if on cue, one of the creatures jumped up and licked Jack's face, making him flinch. You really are one of us, she laughed. Suddenly, a distant sound echoed through the cavern. A ship. They ran to the surface. Above the canyon, several sleek craft flew in formation, no radar symbols, no weapons firing. Instead, they dropped supply crates attached to parachutes. Drones hovered, scanning the ground. The United Terran Exploration Fleet insignia shone on the side of the largest ship. Jack raised his hand. My people. Ilara watched the sky carefully. They followed your beacon? Jack nodded. I activated it when I woke up. Figured someone might still be listening. A moment later, the main ship's comms lit up. A voice spoke through a speaker. Terran Fleet to Commander Jack Maddox. We've received your signal. Mission Control requests immediate report. Jack smiled. Yeah, I've got a report. This planet's not dead. It's just been waiting for a little help. Ilara looked at him. And what will you tell them about us? He turned to her, his voice firm. I'll tell them you're allies, guardians of this world, brave and worth protecting. As the Terran fleet landed and aid began flowing, Jack and Ilara stood side by side, human and alien, survivor and guide. Hope had returned, not just through water, but through a bond that had changed them both. The gift returned. Rain fell across the valley like soft music. For the first time in years, the dusty soil drank deeply. What once was dead land now shimmered with life. Streams carved new paths across broken rock. Seeds long buried opened to the light. Villagers stepped outside their shelters, lifting their hands to the sky. Some cried, some sang. The children danced barefoot in puddles, laughing without fear. Above them all, on a high stone ridge, stood Jack and Ilara side by side. It had been 3 days since the heart engine roared back to life. 3 days since Jack had given his memory and nearly his life. 3 days since the Terran fleet arrived. Now things were changing fast. Jack adjusted the Terran communicator on his wrist. It kept buzzing messages from command science teams. Journalists from Earth. Famous overnight, he muttered. I smirked. You hate it, like I hate dry socks, he joked. But I didn't do this for headlines, she looked at him. I know. Behind them, her alien pets played in the grass, chasing flying insects that sparkled like living gems. The same creatures Jack had given his last water to, now full of energy and joy. They remember, Ilara said softly. You saved them. When no one else would. Jack looked down at the green valley. I just did what anyone should have, Ilara turned to him. No, others would have walked away. You gave what couldn't be replaced. She reached into her pouch and pulled out a small round sphere. It pulsed gently in her palm, like a heartbeat. This is for you, she said. Jack looked confused. What is it? It's called a kith seed. It's sacred to my people. Only shared once in a lifetime with someone who has changed your soul. Jack hesitated. You're sure? She stepped closer. When I lost my home, my people, my hope, I still had two small creatures. You saw their worth. And now, because of that choice, everything is alive again. She placed the kith seed in his hand. As his fingers closed around it, it glowed warmer. What does it do? He asked. It bonds, she said. Not to your mind, to your spirit. Wherever you go, it will carry a piece of this world with you. A reminder of what you saved. Jack stared at it quietly, then looked at her. Then I want you to have something too. He pulled a worn tag from his pocket. Military dog tags, scratched and dull. This belonged to my sister, he said. Quietly, the memory I gave to the vault that was her. Ilara's eyes widened. She used to call me her hero, Jack continued. But I wasn't there when it mattered. I carried this to remind myself never to fail again. He placed the tag in her hand. Now it belongs to someone who helped me keep that promise. Ilara held the tag gently, like a precious crystal dot. Then suddenly, a shout echoed from below. Commander Maddox. Report requested urgent. Jack looked down the ridge. A young Terran officer waved from the camp tents. Behind him, aid workers were building new pumps using the Heart engine's blueprints. Drones flew overhead, planting seeds and testing soil. Jack sighed. Duty calls. Ilara raised an eyebrow. Are they taking you back? He shook his head. They want me to return. Reports, interviews, maybe a medal. She looked away. Will you go? Jack was quiet for a long moment. No. She turned back to him. I've been to dozens of worlds, Jack said. Fought in too many battles, lost people, saved others. But this is the first place where I gave everything and got something greater back. He looked at her. I want to stay, if you'll have me. Ilara smiled. I'd be angry if you left. They both laughed softly. Down in the valley, the people had started building again, new homes with water flowing beside them. Life had returned, and with it, a future. But no one would ever forget how it all began, with a human. A bottle of water, and a decision to care. Final scene that night. Under the first clear stars in years, Ilara and Jack stood near the Heart engine. It pulsed gently, lighting the land like a giant lantern. The alien pet sat between them, tails wrapped together. Jack held the kith seed close to his chest. Ilara wore the dog tag around her neck. No words were spoken. None were needed. The story had been written in water, in memory, in the silent promise between two very different beings who had chosen each other when it mattered most.